Introducing NASM One, NASM's ultimate membership program. Unlock access to everything your fitness career needs to succeed. Unlimited CEUs, free courses, access to our premium app, and exclusive discounts, all for $35 a month. NASM One is best-in-class tools, cutting-edge certifications, confidence in your craft, and everything you do as a personal trainer made easy, so we can achieve our greatest goals together as one.
You're listening to the NASM-CPT Podcast with Richey, winner of the Share Care Emmy Award for Social Storytelling and the official podcast of the National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to the NASM-CPT Podcast. My name is Richey, and today we are continuing with our conversation about the OPT model. We're going to review the OPT model, and we've done so all the way up through resistance training, and now we're getting into resistance training. We've talked about stabilization endurance, we've talked about strength endurance, and now we are still in the level 2 strength training, talking about, for most people that start working out, at least the people I knew when I was growing up, muscular hypertrophy training, muscular development, building muscle. This is something that I think is incredibly valuable. Muscle is so important. And, sometimes when people are like, I don't want to get too big, I kind of laugh that off. But at the same time, like, muscle doesn't always get bigger. That when you develop muscle, it also increases its density. It increases its metabolic demand. There's more and more research coming out, the value of muscle when it comes to people that have diabetes, people that have heart disease. It's so good. Develop your muscle. I love this concept. But this concept is kind of cool because this is the hypertrophy training. And when we get to the rep range, you'll see like the rep range kind of makes sense, because when I first started working out, it was 3 sets of 10. That was the rule. I don't know, maybe that's what the bodybuilders were doing, except, bodybuilders do 3 sets of 10 for incline, and then they do flat bench, and then they do decline. So it's really 9 sets of 10. But there was 3 sets of 10, and then you switch, and 3 sets of 10, and then you switch. And I remember I was in college. I was working out with my buddy Bart, and we were working every day. We would work out. We'd go to the gym regularly, and it was just 3 sets of 10 is what we did. And one day Bart looked at me and he was like, "Rick, you know what we're going to do today? We're going to switch it up." I said, "We're going to switch it up? What are we going to do? What are we doing? Switch it up? What do you mean? What do you mean switch it up?" He goes, "Today, we're going to do 4 sets of 10. I was like, "What? I can't believe switch it 4 sets of 10. Who ever heard of such a thing? You get wild, Bart. You get wild." All right. He got wild. And yet, when we look at the NASM OPT model and we get to the muscular development training, you can do that too. But let's identify what are some of the things that we'll do in this particular phase of the OPT model. Remember, there's phase 1, stabilization endurance, phase 2, strength endurance, phase 3, muscular development, which is basically that regular old working out that used to be done, no 15 repetitions here. It was like the 3 sets of 10. Well, now we're going to put some science to it and going to look at some of the additional variables. By the way, you can develop muscle doing any one of the phases in the OPT model. You don't just develop muscle because you got to phase 3. You build and develop muscle, and you even hypertrophy, you increase muscle size through any of the phases. A lot of it depends on some very important components. How far are you pushing? Are you getting near to failure? Are you consuming more protein? Are you getting enough rest? A lot of these things matter. In fact, people who are looking to build muscle, you could be in the muscular development phase of the OPT model and not consume more protein, not consume more calories. If you don't take the calories in, you're not going to get bigger. Same way just if you're talking about gaining fat too, not muscle, you won't do it unless you're consuming more calories. On the inverse side of it, if you want to lose weight, you have to minimize the consumption of calories or burn off, metabolize more calories than you're taking in. So in order for you to grow, you have to increase your caloric intake. I remember I did this in a very not so healthy way, where a buddy of mine who was kind of a bodybuilding guy, and I kept saying, I can eat all I want and I just don't gain weight. And by the way, don't tell that to your clients. They hate you for it. I eat anything I want and I just don't gain any weight. Life is good for me. And they're like, I'm coming to you to lose weight and you're being a jerk right now. So when you're working with clients, don't say that. But I was working with a friend of mine, bodybuilding guy, and he goes, Rick, just eat a pound of pasta a day. You'll gain weight. And so I took it literally, and people thought I was juicing. People thought I was on steroids. I mean, I got fatter too, but I put on so much weight because a pound of pasta a day will do that to you. Coupling that with my workouts, it wasn't quite the body type that I was looking for, so I did alter that a little bit. But let's get into phase 3 in muscular development training. Here we go. What are some of the things that we're looking to do here? Obviously, we're trying to hypertrophy. It lasts for about 2 to 6 weeks, but I know people who have lived in a hypertrophy training. Now, they plateau, and the problem is anything that you do where you start to see really good results, it's hard to not do that. Where if, I've had people, I'm like, so what do you do for your workouts? What is your goal? They're like, I want to get bigger, I want to get stronger. And they tell me their workouts. And it's like, I do a push, pull, back buys, and then another day, chest tries, legs and shoulders. And I say, oh, how long have you been doing that? And they were like, 18 years. And I was like, when's the last time that you saw really good results from that? And they were like 17 and a half years ago. The good news is you get so many benefits from it in the first 6 months of training that way, especially if you're new to training, where all of a sudden you are now working out on the regular. Your body is changing, maybe not as fast as you want, but about as fast as it's going to change because you're new to it. 6 months, a year, that's actually going to get you a lot of change. And it's such a short time in your life. But after that, it is good to start manipulating variables and cross-train and go in and out of this particular phase. But there are so many, the range, the rep range, the set range, the type, the intensity of exercise in muscular development can be so varied that you maybe can stay in this as longer than any of the other phases and just manipulate the variables where you can stay in it and still continue to get adaptations. Because we want that progressive overload, but sometimes progression doesn't come with weights. It comes with changing how you do a lift. It comes with the tempo at which you do a lift. It comes with the amount of rest, either a shorter rest or longer rest. And then the rep range is important too. And because we have kind of a relatively broad rep range, then you can work within those variables and stay in this for a relatively long time. So if you want to jump with me in your textbook, again, I had somebody tell me, several people that were like, thank you for just telling me where you are in the textbook, so maybe I can look at what you're talking about. So if you want to join me, table 2112 on page 706 in the textbook talks about muscular development training. It gives you examples of the warm-up, activation, skill development. That's the plyos and SAQ. Then it gets to resistance training. And you get to resistance training and you'll see the sets. So our set range is 3 to 6 sets per body part for 6 to 12 repetitions. Well, you'll see 3 sets of 10 falls right in the middle of that, in that rep range and the beginning of that set range. When we did that 4 sets of 10, it still clearly falls in there. Now, it's not like that's the cutoff, right? If you did a 7th set or you were like, I did 12, but I could probably do 13. But if I did a 13th one, it would be endurance. And I want to be strength, so let me just stop here. That's not how it works. And also the hypertrophy mechanisms don't shut off because you did 1 less rep or 1 more rep. Your goal on this is to actually move fast, but with control. So your your tempo isn't necessarily explosive. You're not blasting off, but you're controlling the weight and moving relatively fast as this starts to get heavier. 0 to 60 seconds. I've played with my rest ranges a lot with my muscular development training. I've even done 2-minute rests in there, which I enjoyed because sometimes it's good and enjoyable to be lazy, but this is also why you need a trainer, so they can be like, we're not doing 2 minutes rest. So it's not wrong, but you can focus on this in several different ways. And I also have done it with 30-second rests, which can be really, really a challenging rest range to do. I generally stick with the 60-second rest range that's in there. Your tempo is moderate. It's not fast. You are going in a controlled, moderate tempo, and you're going to pick 2 to 4 exercises per body part, and you can still do the 12 to 20 repetitions. That's still allowed, but just know that that's going to get more of the endurance focus, and we've been doing the endurance work. So if you want to even do a warm-up and do an endurance type warm-up, then you can. I would just say do a lighter weight and still stick with that higher end of the rep range here. So 10 to 12 repetitions at a lighter weight, where you could have done 20 repetitions probably, but you're just getting things warmed up, loosened up, and ready to go. All right. So then you go on to client's choice, and then you get a cool down option. But the muscular development training it's kind of like a standard form of training, but you can put these guidelines on there that says, well, I've spent the first part of it doing 10 repetitions or 10 to 12 repetitions. Now I'm going to put on more weight, and I'm going to do 8 to 10 repetitions. And then you can say, listen, and next week, as I continue to do this, I'm going to focus on 6 to 8 repetitions and just make it heavier. And then you can undulate your periodization simply within this particular phase. In this phase, you can say, all right, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, on my workouts, on Monday, I'm going to do 12 repetitions. On Wednesday, I'm going to go for 8 to 10 repetitions. And on Friday, I'm going to go heavier, still staying within the muscular development range. And I'm going to do 6, 7 repetitions. I'm going heavier, but I'm staying within that range where I'm getting cellular responses, hypertrophic responses. Remember, hypertrophy only works well when you have the diet to support it, stabilizing your stress levels to support it, getting the sleep that you need to support it. These things are vital in order to get the outcomes. This is a good outline. It's a good outline of what to do in the gym, but there's a lot of things outside the gym in order to maximize the benefits that you get from the workout that you do at the gym. The benefits come after the workout, not during the workout. And so give yourself that time to recover. I generally say, a scale of 1 to 5. If you're at a 2, 3, 4, 5, definitely on a, not sore at all to extremely sore, maybe a 2, but a 3 and a 4 on that soreness scale, it's not time to work those muscles today. Maybe you can do more of a cardio. You can do stuff to get them moving, to get more blood flow, that can potentially foam rolling and stretching just to facilitate some type of tissue repair that may be going on there. But for the most part, that movement and the blood flow from doing things like cardio can help to get the nutrients there and take out some of those the metabolites and kind of clear things out, freshen up, get you ready for your next workout. All right, cool. So we're going to continue this OPT review. We're getting close to the end of our OPT model. We've got 2 more, which we'll talk about next week, and then we'll move into cardio and discuss that. After that's done, we're back to talking about other stuff. I've got people who've made requests to go over the solutions tables again, and I hit some of them, but I did not hit all of them. So to go back in the solutions table and let's talk it out. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, fitness friends and family. And then also know that we have a promotion going on right now because we want your feedback. There's a survey link in the show notes. If you could click on that survey link and fill that out, it's going to take about 5, maybe 6 minutes to fill that out. It gives me an opportunity, my producers an opportunity, not just for this show, but for the entire NASM podcast network, to better understand what it is you're getting from us and how we can better support you in that. So please fill that out when you get a chance. And then your name gets thrown in for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. And so you get something out of it. Maybe if you're a winner. And then we get something out of it, even if you didn't have nice things to say, because we want to understand more what it is that you get out of these podcasts and how we can support what works. And that's what we want to do. Anyway, y'all keep inspiring people to fitness. Thanks for listening. This has been the NASM-CPT Podcast.